Well, it's a pleasure to welcome to the podcast Wagner's starting goalie. Actually, just about ready to graduate tonight. Tonight, as we record this, Lauren DiStefano. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'd love to hear the story about when you first jumped into goal. Do you remember that?
Yeah, so I am from West Islip on Long Island, so a huge lacrosse town. All my friends signed up, and I just loved it from the start, like playing with my best friends, and kind of like coach's daughter, like threw me in goal, kind of, and I just loved it ever since.
The old coach's daughter, get in there and play. Huh?
Yeah.
Did you play like in the field too, or you kind of jumped right into goal and stuck with it?
Um, like everyone played field in like second, third grade, but then
Yeah.
once we like started playing games, I just jumped in there.
What was it about the goalie position that you like so much?
Um, I guess I was always just kind of just like a natural at it. And it kind of came like naturally to me. So I was like, hey, like I can do this. So and then I just liked it. Maybe a little bit too of I don't have to run as much. So
Yeah,
like
if we're
that
being
person.
honest, that's a huge draw, right? Like we could say, I
Yeah.
love the spotlight, I love the pressure of making the big save, but you know, when your teammates are running up and down and you see them looking miserable and you're not as
Yeah.
miserable, great, right? West Islip, huh? Best goalie to come out of West Islip. Who do you got?
I
I got
actually
my
worked with her, Alyssa Costantino. She played at Syracuse during the like kind of Michelle Tumolo era.
uh-huh.
And I would do training with her when I was younger, and she definitely helped me a lot, like, just learning how to just be, like, mentally there too in the goal, so I definitely
And
looked up to her a lot when I was
so
younger.
she worked with you like and kind of taught you some of the ropes of the position.
Yeah, I would do,
Oh,
like,
amazing.
different trainings with her.
Awesome.
Yeah.
In my head, I was thinking Jack Kelly on the men's side.
Alright, he's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is good.
they're a great family too.
Oh, do you know the Kellys?
Yeah, my parents know their his parents, and they're very nice.
How big is West Islip? Is it like three streets, three towns, three blocks, and like everyone knows everyone?
Um, I'd say maybe in, like, the lacrosse world, people know everyone,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I think it's, like, 3 miles wide.
gotcha.
Not not a
So
huge
what
town, but
what did and what was the coach's name? Sorry, I missed it. Or that you just mentioned.
oh, Alyssa Costantino?
Alyssa. Yeah. So what
Yeah.
were some of the things specifically that she taught you?
I remember a lot just, like, positioning and kind of just, like, staying in the goal. I feel like that you see, like, a lot of goalies who are, like, super active, and I kinda just like to, like, stay it sounds, like, stupid when you say it, but, like, just staying in the goal, like, staying set and kind of not taking myself out of position. So she
Hmm.
really taught me, like, using a little arc and just staying big and, like, in the goal.
Yeah. It seems like a very simple thing, right? But and when you
Yeah.
watch like college and pros, like they make it look very simple. But when you go back and you watch um youth lacrosse and kind of watch some goalies, you'll see like, oh, like when that shot was taken, they were like way out of position,
Yeah.
right? And they were giving up like so much of the goal, and then they end up having to reach
Yeah.
for it. So much of like of making a save is just being in that right spot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and I think positioning is super important. It's kind of one of the things that, when I'm working with a youth goalie, like one of the very first things that we do is work on positioning. Um, awesome. So you stick with the goalie position, right? Obviously. And when do you start to realize like, oh, I might want to play lacrosse like at the next level?
So my ninth grade year, I played varsity and very fortunate throughout my career, like high school, I started every game and just like being so young, I realize this now, like looking back, like they fully trusted me to be in there at 14 years old. And I was like, okay, like I could do this. And then we won states that year. Like we were a very successful team and just them like having trusted me to do it, I was like, okay, like I want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's dig in on that, because that's an interesting feeling. Like a lot of you, it can go either way. Like a lot of goalies can think like, oh, like I'm a ninth grader or I'm a 10th grader, and I'm so nervous that, I'm starting and I can't handle it. But you sort of went the other way and said like, well, they really trust me, and that sort of
Yeah.
it filled you with confidence. How did that work?
Yeah. Especially like being so young, like my one job, like I just had to play. Like I really didn't have to like be a leader, like do like other factors in. I could just play lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
And so like looking back, I'm like, I was so young, but I just like loved lacrosse so much. And I was like, I'm here for a reason. My coaches wouldn't put me in this position if they didn't like think I could do it and help the team. So that really did give me some confidence where they trust me. I'm here for a reason, and just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's a big lesson, right? You're there for a reason, right? They're putting
Yeah.
their trust in you. And I mean that happens like that answer is great when there's, at an all-star game, or like you're playing with like some advanced competition. It's like, listen, you're there for a reason. So
Yeah.
don't start doubting yourself in this moment. Like they they want you there.
Yeah.
Right. And you're there for a reason. So
Yeah.
I say that quite a bit. How do you describe like the style that you play with nowadays in terms of just, I don't know, stance, overall philosophy of play? What comes to mind for you?
Um, I would say I'm very just like solid goalie. Like I said before, I'm not running everywhere. There's like a time and place for like being active and like going for to pick off passes, but I really think one of my strong suits is just staying in the goal. Like my stance isn't crazy. I just kind of like load up the legs a bit and just like the ball's gonna come to you. So kind of just not being antsy, like kind of staying still and then just like tracking the ball and finding it. So I feel like I'm just solid, like not trying to get myself out of position and just knowing
Yeah.
like the ball is gonna come to you. So you gotta be there kind of thing.
Ball's definitely going to come at you. It's going to come at
Yeah.
you quick too, right?
Yeah.
Especially as you get up there and at the D1 level. Was that the way you've always played, or has it been some sort of adjustments that you've made along the way as the game's gotten faster and the shots have gotten harder?
Yeah. I feel like in high school I think I was solid, but I really didn't think of it. But now as I went through college, my senior and grad year this year, I really just like understood like just stay still, like be patient, and the ball is gonna come to me. So and then exploding to the ball that way. Because I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of goalies like they're always jumpy, like trying to kind of read the shooter before they even shoot. So my kind of philosophy for that is the ball is gonna come to you anyway. So then be patient, see where it goes, and then you can explode to it.
Yeah. And what do you do on on those inside shots? There's a lot of goalies that use sort of the mantra of read them and beat them, of like sort of
Yeah.
reading their body language and kind of, I don't know, making an educated guess and kind of anticipating a little bit. But when you talk about like being set, and just really seeing it, how do you then handle shots that are right on top of you?
I kind of just like go with my instincts too, but I try not to go too high, like off the crease, because right they can just dump it over you. So
Hmm.
I feel like kind of staying between the arc, my arc and the crease line, and then just like using my instincts, just trying to see their stick. Um, and those shots too, like if they're right on the crease, they're gonna go in sometimes, and just kind of sometimes you get lucky, but just kind of use my instincts and just read the stick like as best I can.
Yeah. Yes. They are going to go in, right? And especially in the
Yeah.
women's game, like a lot of those shots are just right on top of you.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the female goalies sometimes because it's just like
Yeah.
one on
Getting
nothing
touchdowns.
every single time, right?
Yeah.
And you have just a couple saves, but sometimes a couple saves and a half is all you need, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, cool. So, any particular thing that you learned at Wagner in terms of your goalie game where you're like, wow, that really, this is really cool. I'm really glad I learned that. Can't believe I didn't know that earlier.
Um, I would say and this like came from my coaches too. They kind of made me feel comfortable where they were like, lacrosse is an offensive game. Like the goals are gonna go in, the other team's going to score. So I kind of just use that, like that really helped with my like mentality and just like with the shot clock too, there are gonna be a lot of shots on you. So just like next play mentality, just like not getting too crazy on yourself. And because that really changed like from high school to college. Like there's a ton of more shots, like better accurate shooters. So
Hmm.
just if you understand early that the goals are gonna go in, like the other team's gonna score, like that like help a lot
Yeah.
too.
All right. So it's more of like a mental thing that you learn that or your
Yeah.
coaches taught you that. All right. Well, I'm gonna get scored on. I know that. So when
Yeah.
it does happen, like I'm okay with it.
Yeah. You gotta move
Hmm.
on.
Yeah, but how do you move on? Because it's tough. I mean, let's say they score four on you, right? Four on you right in a row, right at the very beginning of the game, and as much as you want to say like I want to move on, I want to move on, it can be really hard. So how
Yeah.
do you do it?
That actually happened 2 games stick out to me this year where the other team scored pretty early, and just, like, from my point of view, like, once I make, like, my first save, I'm like, "Okay, like, I'm ready to go," and when
Hmm.
that doesn't happen in the beginning, it sucks, but, like, just trusting, like, your practice and trusting yourself that your coaches want you in there, and it doesn't really I really came to terms with this year, like, it doesn't matter how many saves you have, like, you can be the right save at the right time where you can really just, like, kinda save your team and, like, help your team out, so it's not really, like, a numbers thing, but
Right.
just keep going, like, I don't know, I feel like I definitely learned that throughout my college career, and this year I was, like, my best mentally of, like, I just reminding myself, like, again, I'm here for a reason, my coaches trust me, my teammates trust me, and just, like, know, like, the saves will come, like, I've been doing this my whole life, like, just kind of like a next shot, like, mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of makes me think of this one game that I had where I was playing amazing, and I think we had even had a shutout like in the first half. Um, and then like I gave up this goal, and I should have made the save in my mind. Like I should have made the save, and I was playing so well. I probably had like 8 or 9 saves in the first half, but
Yeah,
then this one goal just got in my head, and so it could kind of work both ways. Where like you could be playing great, give up a goal, and then you're thinking about that goal, or like the other way around, where you're not even playing great, give goals and think about them. But it's so
yeah,
important that you move on, right? It's so
yeah,
important that you move on because if you're thinking about that last goal, like you're not present, and you're not going to make those saves. So you got to good and the bad. You got to flush it.
yeah.
Yeah. What other mental game lessons come to mind for you? Do you guys have a sports psychologist that you work with?
Um, yeah, we've worked with, Dr. Mike at Princeton. We've had some team meetings with him, I think, like, 2 or 3 times throughout the semester.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like, your mental health, like, during lacrosse is, like, huge, like, especially for goalies, and, he's helped us a lot, like, just, like, as a team. So, I liked the sports psychologist, I think it's very helpful for, like, teams as a whole, like, our team, we had, like, 2, like, bad games in a row, and then we brought him in, and we kinda just, like, talked about it, talked through it with him, like, and with our teammates, so I feel like he was very helpful in
Yeah.
that sense.
What kind of things would you talk about?
Um, just, like, mostly when things just aren't going your way, how to, like, turn that around and how to kinda bounce
Mm,
back from it.
yeah.
'Cause, right, you're not gonna be perfect every game, every practice, so it's more of just trying to be consistent, um, with yourself and, like, how you talk to yourself, and that'll just one day it can just turn around and you, like, feel better. You'll start doing the same things you used to be doing, so
Right.
kinda stuff like that.
Yeah. The bounces start going your way, right? Yeah. But
Yeah,
that to that point, the power of of how you talk to yourself is so key. Because as a goalie, especially, I think it's so easy to go negative.
yeah,
Right? Like you have a bad game and you're like, "Oh man, like I suck and like everyone hates me and man, I'm blowing it for my team and that loss was my fault." And all these like really bad things that one are not true and probably not true and two like you wouldn't talk to a teammate like that, but yet like we're totally
yeah,
fine with talking to ourselves like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you really got to watch what you say, right? You watch what you say to yourself.
Yeah. I feel like I really learned that over my like 5 years. I feel like my senior and grad year, I really just like was like content like with my mindset. I feel like my mindset is like my strongest part of my game.
Mm,
And especially being a captain, like I had to really be like, I can't get crazy on myself because I have to be there for my teammates too.
mm,
And once your goalie starts falling apart, I feel like the whole defense is kind of screwed. So I had to look at it from that perspective too of I have to just stay calm, like next shot mentality, like I'm here for a reason, like
yeah.
trusting that I am like a good player, like I can do this. So there's like other factors too than other than just worry about yourself, like when you're a captain and in a, like a leadership position.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I mean, if the goalie's freaking out, or like one of the captains is freaking out, then it's like, well,
Yeah.
you look at
Yeah.
the leader and the leader's freaking out, then like, of course the rest of the team's going to be freaking out because, but if you, on the other hand, you look at the captain, the goalie, and things, you're giving up a couple goals, things are not going well, but they're like, come on guys, we got this. Let's go. Let's get a stop right here. And
Yeah.
kind of turns it around. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, That's cool. So you're a captain of the team. What when you think about like leadership skills or leadership, I don't know, traits that you try to embody, what comes to mind? You talked about being, cool and calm in those games. Anything else?
I would just say like overall, like having your teammates respect you and you like respect your teammates. Especially like on and off the field. Like if you're like a great person, like people look up to you, like people want to play for you and play their hardest for you. And I kind of like see that too for my defenders. Like they run 6, 7, 8 miles a day. Like we have trackers, like they're working their asses off. Like, and I want to be there for them too, like give them a break a few times, like just getting some big saves for them. And just overall, like just once your teammates have all respect for each other, that's when you play your hardest for each other. So just like
Hmm.
leading through like example and just like showing that you like will do anything like for your teammates.
Yeah, I love that lesson. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. And I love that too, because like a freshman, you don't need like the authority or the seniority
Yeah.
to earn that respect, because a lot of it is just about like your character and how hard you're working on the field, and just sort of those um things that the upperclassmen witness, right? And then you sort of gain respect that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Stepping back a little bit, so once you decided to you could play lacrosse at the next level, talk to me a little bit about the recruiting process and why you ultimately chose Wagner.
I knew I wanted to stay like close to home, so I'm like an hour away from home. Um, and then I was recruited through Katie Rowan. Um, obviously like a great player, like a great person. And Wagner's like such a small school. It's like a great community, like especially through our athletic program. So that's something that I was really drawn to. And we always joke like there's a little magic in Wagner that a lot of people don't understand unless you're here. And I just love the school. Just had a great 5 years. So that kind of just drew me there. Like the team culture, like from the start was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for those who don't know, we were talking before we hit record. I had second Wagner goalie I've interviewed. I had Matt Sefik on the podcast actually on the podcast recently, but he wrote a guest post for me a long time ago on the blog talking about Wagner. And maybe you don't know this, but it's a beautiful campus, right? And they filmed
Yeah.
this movie he was talking about. Do you know what it is?
Um, I'm not sure the movie, but they filmed I think like an NCIS episode in like our weight room. They film like a lot of like different shows around here because it's like the city and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a great
yeah.
view.
Anyway, there's this one like, oh
Oh,
man,
they filmed School of Rock, a
School
scene
of
where
Rock. School
yes,
of Rock.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. All right.
yeah, the
Cool. I'm
scene where they
glad we got to the bottom of that one. But yeah, these just
yeah,
really beautiful like brick brick buildings. It's
Yeah.
really historic looking, really awesome campus.
Yeah. It
And
is.
it's nice to be close to home, right? 1 hour away.
Yeah.
It's not too close that the DiStefanos are popping in, is it?
No, but they do. I was grateful that they came to like every game, so
Yeah.
it's convenient for them. Like, and I got to see them at all my games, so definitely
Yeah,
worth the fam.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you, when you were growing up and playing lacrosse, how did you learn? Was it the coaching with Alyssa? Was it like, did you do any camps?
When I started playing Top Guns, the summer, like going into, I think 8th grade. So I feel like I was kind of late to that because I know like a lot of people are playing travel like way early.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did like goalie camps through them. Also like my team, my PAL team, we did like tournaments like during the winter. So we were always like playing like all year round. And I think like the best, not necessarily drills to do, but just like getting out there and like playing in the game, because you can do as many drills as you want, but it really is not the same as you actually being in the game. And yeah, so I just feel like just playing game, getting game experience is like kind of is worth more than doing some drills that kind of you don't like to do and kind of just aren't realistic
Yeah.
to certain points of the game.
Well, yeah, those live reps, right? Nothing beats those live reps.
Yeah.
And especially too, like getting, when you play those big games, just getting that feeling of like getting used to that feeling of playing big games, right? So
Yeah.
when you play in your first one, you're nervous. When you play in your second one, like you're a little bit more used to it. The nerves never go away, right? I'm sure
No.
you as a fifth year athlete now, like you still have games where you get nervous. Am I right?
Yeah. And I was lucky enough, like from my 9th grade year, like we were in county championship, Long Island championship, state championship. So I was kind of thrown in it like right away. So that definitely helps me like gaining experience for like our conference championships this year. Like I was very nervous because I was like, this is my last shot, like my last go around here. And I kind of just had to use my I said in one of my post game interviews, I was like, I've been here a while. I have to trust my experience. And right, you're an athlete, like you want to play in these big games and kind of like take the moment and embrace it, because that's why we're here. We're here to compete at like the highest level and in big games. So just like taking it all and like embracing it and like stepping up when there's a big game. So I definitely learned that from a young age. That really helps me like now, like later in my career.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I was going to ask you, you mentioned, I started playing travel club lacrosse at 8th grade, maybe that's a little bit late. What is the right age? If there's a parent listening to this and I guess it kind of depends on what the kids' goals are, in terms of where they want to go. But let's say they do want to play D1 lacrosse. What do you think is the right age to get started at travel?
I would say like the 8th grade year, because I know like some now with like recruiting guidelines being pushed back. And also too, you don't really know what you want to do when you're younger too. So I know like I'm pretty sure Michelle Tumlo didn't start playing lacrosse till like 9th grade, like later in her life. So really like things change in your life. And also like I have had friends who've started playing travel in like 5th grade, and like they get burnt out. It's a lot, like travel lacrosse is a lot, like all summer. So I would say like kind of maybe like towards the end of middle school, right before high school, if like you know what you want to do.
Awesome. Love
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Well, very cool. And so you had a great season this season. USA Lacrosse Magazine All-American. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Do you get like some sort of physical award or no?
I'm not sure. I was talking to my dad and I was like, maybe they'll send me a plaque or something. I really don't know how it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I've talked with a lot of goalies of the year, like the first team All-Americans, and they do get like some sort of plaque. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping you get one.
Yeah. That'd be
If
cool.
not, we'll reach out to the committee, be like, can we get
Yeah.
Lauren some sort of, at least like a signed ball or something like
Yeah.
that, huh?
That'd be nice.
Talk to me about this season. Was there, if I was going to make a save edit, what was there one game where you're like, man, that was the game that I just loved playing and I played so well in that game?
Um, I would say, kind of early in the season, like I always start off like really well, and then I always like joke that I have like a mid-season slump. But I would say when we played Monmouth, I had like a pretty big game. And then towards like the end of the year, we played St. Francis. I had like 19 saves. Like towards the end of the year, I was like, it's time to like turn it on now. That was like our last season game before heading into conference. So I was like just like zoned in, just like ready to go. So it's like that game. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
We got like a
What?
big win for our team, so that was cool.
Yeah. What? Why do you think you have that mid-season slump?
I don't know, like looking back my whole career, there's like 2 or 3 games where I'm like not like my best, but I'm like, okay, like I gotta get out of this like funk. And like it never like my coaches were like, it's never like a thing, but it's kind of just like from my perspective, where like, all right, I should have had that one, I should have done this, should have done this.
Mm-hmm.
But right, it takes one day to get out of it. So one practice, like a few shots to like turn it around. So I always just like trust myself there too, where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get out of this. But yeah.
Talk to me about that. How do you get out of it? What? I don't know if people listening follow your logic of it takes just a couple shots to get out of it. Someone's probably young goalie's probably listening in the car, like, wait a minute, no, it doesn't.
Yeah. Um, that's true. Like when you're younger, it's like tough because you do want to make every save, but like they're gonna go in a lot when you're younger too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even like if I'm not making as many saves I'm happy with, like during practice, I'll be like, all right, let me get a few shots onto the side, like kind of just get my muscle memory back in there. But too, like there's some days I'm like, all right, today is not my day. I've
Mm-hmm.
accepted it. And now just like from being a leader too, like being a fifth year, I'm like, okay, like I know tomorrow will be like a better day. And that takes a lot of work, like mentally. Like it took me like probably till my senior like year to be like, okay, like it's fine. Like I just had a bad day. And then the next day kind of just be like, all right, let's go. Like I'm here for a reason. Like I've been saying, like, um, I'm here, like my coaches trust me. Like, so I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I just gotta get back into it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like an easy skill to talk about. And it's harder to put into practice, but it is, when you do have that bad game, it's like, all right, I had a bad game or a bad half or bad quarter, even like, fine. That happens to every single goalie. Right.
Yeah.
And and I got to move on, and you
Yeah.
got to move on. Cause if you can't move on, then you're gonna have another bad quarter and a bad half and just keep sort of snowballing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
Uh,
my one of our games this year, we played down in Stetson and I had like a horrible first quarter. Like I don't even remember what the score was. I try not to think of scores like when I'm in the game, but and then like the second quarter made a save like the first shot of the second quarter, and I was like, okay, like it's fine now. Like once like you kind of make the first save as a goalie, like then you're like, okay, I can get things rolling. But yeah, that's kind of like kind of use each quarter as a new opportunity.
mm-hmm. Yeah, make that one save, and you're like, I'm back. I'm back,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, cool. So yeah, like I said, congratulations on a great season. Lost in the championship by 1 goal, huh?
Yeah.
Caught in the conference championship. What a bummer.
It was a heartbreaker, but
Yeah, I bet.
it's
I
okay.
bet. It's okay, right? But
Yeah.
most I mean, unless you're winning the national championship, most careers do end on a loss. Mine certainly
Yeah.
did. But you can just look back and be grateful that you got five
Yeah.
great years,
Yes.
great education, even a graduate degree. What'd you study
Yeah.
for the graduate degree?
I got my MBA in marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna be out there marketing, out there in the real world marketing.
We'll see.
All right.
Trying to take some time, just figure things out now. So
Before
we'll
before you get
see.
a job.
Yeah.
All right. Anything you learned about marketing that applies to lacrosse goalies, do you think?
Oh God.
I've never asked that question. I just thought of it.
Um, well, marketing, a lot of it has to do with psychology of the consumers. So just like goalie mentality, like just reading different goalies and trying to learn from that. I guess you can say,
Yeah. The psychology.
yeah,
Yeah. But
psychology.
goalies a lot about your own psychology, right? More than
Yeah,
anything else.
yeah,
I guess and the team psychology as well.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that's interesting. I've studied a lot of marketing myself. More like, I don't know if you guys do like online marketing, like online business type marketing, or is it more like I don't know, like Coca-Cola ads, like big brand type marketing?
yeah. It's more like big brands.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well, we'll save the marketing talk for my other podcast, the marketing hour.
yeah.
That doesn't exist. Uh, well, cool. What about your pregame rituals? Do you have some sort of like pregame rituals that you go through before a game?
Honestly, no. Like, I'm not a superstitious person. Um, I like to like get to the locker room early, stretch out before going on the field, just hang out with my teammates. Um, just kind of having fun, like maybe go pass on the turf a little bit, and then kind of just sit there, like calm my mind, and then just do whatever with my teammates, and just get out there.
Okay.
I'm not a stickler about certain things.
Right.
Have
Right.
to be the same. Yeah.
Well, that certainly makes it a lot easier. I've
Yeah.
talked to goalies and they're like, I got to have the blue Gatorade at, you know, 27 minutes, exactly 27 minutes before the game
Yeah.
starts. And you're like, wow, seems like a pretty strict routine you got going on there.
Yeah. I don't do any of that. It's not me.
Awesome. What about your stick setup? What did you go with this season?
I actually like don't know. Like I'm not a big like equipment person. Um, I think we have Eclipse heads,
Yeah.
but
Well, in the photos that I'm looking at here, you got the clips too.
yeah,
But
it's
you,
like
you
kind
just
of
you just give whatever stick that they give you, you use it.
yeah, they're just like what sticks do you guys like? And our goalies, we were like, yeah, this one's good. And then I'm not like a big like like the newest equipment person.
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
been like that like from when I was younger too. So I was like, I'll like even my younger college freshman sophomore year, I really didn't have a choice. So I was like, all right, like this works for me. So I got to work
Yeah.
with it. Um,
Or yeah, some people love the gear and like to try all the different things and
yeah,
but yeah, I mean others are just, hey, this anyway, Clips 2 is a great head, so
yeah,
you chose well.
yeah. I definitely liked it this year.
Yeah,
Definitely.
cool. Well, Lauren, thanks so much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure to get to know you
Thank
and
you.
chat with you. Good luck in your career.
Thank you.
If folks are looking for a marketing expert, I know one.
Yep.
So there she is. If folks want to ask you any questions or get a hold of you, can they reach out on Instagram? Or do you do the Instagram? I think that's where we connected.
Yeah, they can talk to me on Instagram, just at Lauren DiStefano.
Awesome. At Lauren DiStefano. Well, I'll let you know when this comes out. And if you had to leave the goalies out there with the final piece of advice, what would that be?
I would just say if you're younger, just stick with it, and it gets better like as you become more experienced, and if you really love it, things will work out for you in the end. So just stick with it, don't be too hard on yourself, and just wait for the ball to come to you. That's what I would say.
There you go. Stick with it. Wait for the ball to come to you.
Yeah.
And great advice. Great advice. Final question. If I'm going to West Islip, where do I got to eat? Give me your top Top recommendation.
Go to Our Little Italy on Union Boulevard. Great family, great food, Italian place. Just a good like West Islip community atmosphere. Awesome pizza. Get the buffalo slice. It's really good.
There you go. Lauren, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Take care.